it's Karen with Yes Please PaperCrafts, and in today's video I'm going to be scrapbooking these pictures of my dogs, and I'm going to be using this DCWV Playful Pets collection. I found this 12 by 12 paper pad at Tuesday mornings, and I just was so excited to find this because this is one of my favorite collections ever for scrapbooking my dogs. So if you have cats or dogs, this is the most adorable paper to use to scrapbook your pets. And even if you don't have pets, there's so many papers in here that are awesome that you could use, and it's double-sided, so most of the paper could be used for other types of layouts. And I love the colors, and there's plaids and polka dots, florals, stripes. There's just all kinds of different patterns in this paper pad. But if you do have dogs, this is really cute paper to use. And I'm going to be fussy cutting out some of these little dog heads to use on my layout. So I really do love fussy cutting, and I spent a lot of time cutting out all these little dogs, but I was also talking to my friends because I usually scrapbook with a group of ladies and we get together every 2 weeks, but because of the pandemic we couldn't get together, but we figured out a way to do a video chat. And it was really a lot of fun, so we were able to talk to each other while we were scrapbooking, and we were able to show each other our projects and help each other, you know, if anybody needed help with the layout or had questions. And so it was almost as good as being there in person with everyone. And one of the interesting things that I found was that no one left anything at home or needed anything because we were all at home in our craft rooms and we had access to all of our supplies. So I guess there was an upside to doing a video chat and being in our own craft rooms because we didn't have to pack up any of our stuff and lug it to someone else's house. We had everything in our craft room to work with, so that was super awesome. So I'm going to be scrapbooking some pictures of my dogs, and I had printed out 6 little pictures, and these were pictures that were taken in the car. I had just picked my dogs up from the groomers, and I was trying to take pictures of them with their new haircuts, and they were just not happy with me because they wanted to go. They were just ready to ride. So I'm going through this paper pad again, looking for some paper to use for my background. And I didn't want anything too busy, but I did want something with a lot of color. So I'm going to pull out this really cute plaid. So I thought it would be really cute to use a wood grain, and so I'm looking through another paper pad that I have. I used it just recently to do a layout, and there it is right there. It's called Happy Camper, and it's from Park Lane. And there was this paper in there, and it's almost like wood veneer. It's really cool, and I just love the texture of it. And I thought the color of it went really well with this plaid. Now I'm looking through my washi tape trying to find a washi because I wanted something to go kind of in between those two papers to kind of cover up the seam. I'm also going to be using this EK Success border punch that has little puppy paws, and I just love those puppy paws. I've used that on another layout, and I just think that that punch is adorable. And I'm just going to go ahead and punch out this border. I picked out this really bright, vibrant orange, and I thought that that was going to go really well with the wood grain in this plaid paper. I did find a washi tape in my stash that I'm going to use here, and it's a really thin gold washi. And I thought it was really pretty, and it'll add some detail to the border strip and kind of separate the border from that pattern paper. Okay, so I wanted to bring in some thickers, and I'm trying to figure out which thicker would be better for my title. And I was looking at these two thickers, and I decided on these yellow glitter thickers, and they're the Macaw font. I really like the style of this font, and I think it's going to go really well on this layout. And I also thought the color matched really well with that plaid pattern paper. And so I'm going to just go ahead and spell out the title here, which is Ready to Ride. I just love that title. I just thought that was such a cute title. So sometimes, you know, you get lucky and you think of something that perfectly matches your layout. So I was really happy to get that title, because sometimes I just get stuck with using the same titles over and over again. So Okay, so I'm going to be matting these pictures on some white cardstock. I wanted to make it look like they were little film strips, so I put 3 of the pictures on one film strip and 3 on another. And I thought about matting them again with that yellow cardstock, but I just decided I really like that white against the plaid. And so I'm going to just go ahead and leave it matted with just the white cardstock. I'm going to be adding some foam tape to all these little dogs, and I like to pop things up on my layout and add dimension, and I think it just gives it a little bit more interest when you're popping things up on your layout. So now I'm going to play some musical dogs, and I'm going to move these dogs around and try to figure out the placement of my pictures and how many of the dogs I wanted to include on this layout. And something that I always struggle with is placement of my pictures. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside for now, and I'm going to work on making a tag for my layout. And I'm cutting a 2-inch strip, and I'm going to use a Stampin' Up! Punch. This is a tag punch. You can take any 2-inch strip of paper and create a tag. And it has a scallop top on it. So I'm going to go ahead and create that tag. And I thought it was a little bit bright with just that yellow, and I'm thinking about what else I could add to this tag to kind of tone it down a little bit. So I'm going to flip through this paper pad again, and I came across one of the cut-aparts. And when I was looking at that, I noticed that they had one of those cut-aparts had it was like a white background with the yellow lines, and I thought, well, that would be kind of cool to just put the top of the tag as yellow, and then the bottom of the tag would be kind of the white with the yellow lines. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut this apart. And this cut apart was a little bit difficult to cut into because I couldn't really use the paper trimmer because nothing was lined up on it, so I just kind of cut what I needed to kind of get that part out. Now, when I was looking at this cut apart, I saw this one saying that was at the bottom, and I really loved the navy blue background, and I thought that would be really cute to add to my layout. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out as well. And that little cut apart says, "Can I bring my dog?" And I thought that was really cute since I was bringing my dog with me and they were in the car. I'm using my Creative Memories paper trimmer, and one of the really cool things about this paper trimmer is that it has these clear guides that you can use to try to figure out where you're going to cut before you actually cut your paper. And I think it's one of the best trimmers I've ever used to be able to visualize where you're going to cut before you actually cut. And so it's a really awesome paper trimmer. So I'm talking to my friends here, and I'm going to be sharing with them another layout. This is a double layout, and we were going to take a class at the crop that we attended a few weeks back, but it was on the 3rd day, and I wasn't feeling too well, so we just decided we would buy the page kits. And the title of it was Fun in the Sun, and it had these really cute palm trees, and it was like a big sun. So I really loved taking the classes at the crop, but this particular class was on the last day at 3:30 in the afternoon, and after sitting all day and then knowing that we were going to have to pack up, it was just too much. So we went ahead and just asked the person who was teaching the class if she could just sell us the page kits, and so we took those home. And a couple days later, my sister and my mom came over, and we put these pages together. And I just think that that is the cutest double page layout. I'm going to have to find some pictures though, but that layout is pretty much finished except for adding the pictures and some enamel dots. So one of the things I purchased when I was at the crop was actually the close to my heart digital cartridge called Everyday Moments. And that cartridge is so cute. It has all these layouts, complete layouts that you can just load onto your Cricut and cut out, and it's kind of similar to that layout that I just showed you. It has all the pieces and you just cut it all out and then put it together. And it also had some cards, and I'll put a picture here so you can kind of see that cartridge, but that cartridge is so cute, and I can't wait to make some layouts with that. I haven't used it yet, but I'm planning to do some things with it. And I love that double page layout that had, it was like a birthday celebration. That was one of the main reasons why I wanted to buy that cartridge. So the Everyday Moments cartridge is $25, and when you first look at that cartridge, it really doesn't look like there's much on there, but when you open up one of the layouts, you can actually ungroup it, and there's all of these different elements and pieces that you could use separately. So there'll be like flowers or frames or, you know, all kinds of different things that are used to embellish the layout, and there's way more in there than you might think. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. Okay, so back to the layout. I did add the yellow tag and that cut apart together, and I thought it kind of looked a little plain, so I decided to add some of this floral print in between. And by the time I finished decorating this tag and then tucking it kind of behind my pictures, you really couldn't see any of that cut apart with the white background and the yellow lines, but you know, that's okay. That kind of happens. You can see a little bit of it, but not much. Okay, so I did think about matting this little cut apart that says, "Can I bring my dog?" And I did try to use my We Are Memory Keepers layering guides to do the mat. And I was talking to my friends and trying to do that at the same time. And I messed it up and I cut into the paper. And so I just decided that instead of matting it, I ended up just leaving a little bit of the yellow showing on the right hand side. And I thought that was kind of cool. It just added a little bit of a pop of color, but not too much. Now I'm cutting apart this other little saying that says "Bow Wow," and I am going to mat that onto some of that yellow cardstock. So it's really funny how sometimes messing up can actually make your layout better, because I think that if I would have matted that saying onto that yellow cardstock, it would have been just a little bit too much for my layout. So one of my friends asked me if I'd ever seen the RTS scrapbooking video about using color books to store your ephemera and die cuts. And so I'm just sharing with my friends some of the storage solutions that I'm using to store my ephemera and die cuts. And I did get a lot of ideas from watching RTS scrapbooking. Janet has some really awesome organization videos on her channel. And I will put a link to Janet's channel, RTS Scrapbooking, in the description below, just in case you haven't found Janet yet, because she has some awesome videos, scrapbooking and organization and a whole bunch of other stuff. So she's now over on Patreon, but she still has hundreds of videos on YouTube that you can watch. I'll also put a link to my video where I shared how I stored and organized my ephemera and die cuts if you're interested in checking that out. I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers layering guides to make a mat with this yellow cardstock around this little cut apart, and it's a 1/16 inch layering guide that I'm using here. So I love these layering guides because it helps you to make a perfectly even mat all the way around a picture or even a piece of ephemera. So I'm still trying to work out the placement of my title and my pictures and that tag. And I finally decided that I was going to put the title on the left at the top there, and then put the two photo strips on the right hand side and then the tag right above that. And I also added that cut apart at the very bottom. I thought that was, it kind of brought some weight to the bottom of the layout with that dark navy, and it kind of toned down that plaid pattern paper. I was also trying to figure out where to put these little dogs, and I decided that I should put 3 on the left hand side under the title, and I think adding embellishments that are in odd numbers makes the layout more pleasing to the eye, and it gives more balance. So if you've ever noticed, if you try to put something on your layout and you put 2 of something or 4 of something or 6 of something, that it just doesn't look right. But if you use 3 or 5 or 7, it just looks so much better. I don't know why that is, but if you're ever struggling with a layout and you're thinking that your embellishments look really heavy, try taking one of them away and making it an odd number. So I really love how my tag came out, and I'm going to go ahead and punch a hole in the top of the tag. And it's funny because I actually cut off the yellow strip at the top and I just turned it into a much smaller tag with just the floral print at the top because for some reason it was just, I don't know, I just didn't like that yellow on the top of my tag. And so I decided to change it. Now, I am going to add some yellow back in there by taking this hole reinforcer and cutting some hole reinforcers out of that yellow cardstock and adding that to the top of the tag. I think maybe that yellow was so bright, it was such a bright color cardstock that I think having such a large amount of it was really not, it was kind of clashing with the layout. But just adding a small little bit of it to the top of the tag with that hole reinforcer and to the bottom of that cut apart that says, "Can I bring my dog?" It's just there on the left hand side of that cut apart, and it just kind of adds a little pop of color. And then you may also notice that it creates a visual triangle between that title, which is the yellow thickers, the tag, which has the yellow hole reinforcer, and then that cut apart at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to play musical dogs again with all these little dog heads. And I think it's so funny how much I fiddle around with the layout. And I just have to laugh at myself when I watch myself back in the video, how many times I move my embellishments around. It's just pretty funny. And I kind of drive myself crazy, I think, doing that. And now I'm looking at this pattern paper again, and I'm going to cut out some more dog heads because I didn't have enough dog heads. I had to cut out more. And I had way too many. I mean, I had to kind of limit how many I put on my layout because I tried to add more, and it just started to look like there was just too many dogs. And so I did have to be a little bit more picky about which ones I selected to be on the layout, and then some of them didn't get on the layout. So it just happens sometimes. But I think sometimes it's nice to have choices because one of the reasons why I started cutting more dogs out is because I had this really cute dog and it had this kerchief and it had these little bows that were sticking out, and I fussy cut around that and it was super tiny. And when I was trying to put the foam tape on there, I broke it off and I was so upset because it didn't look nearly as cute without that little bow. And so then I went looking for more dogs. So when I was working on the intro for this video, I was super excited to find that little pink car. And I put those little Yorkie dogs in the car, and I thought that was just adorable because it suited this video because the layout is ready to ride. And so I just thought that was super cute. And I do have a little video clip of my two dogs, Bella and LilyBelle, at the end of this video. So if you're interested, stick around for that. So I didn't finish this layout and I left it overnight, and then the following day my mom came over and we did some scrapbooking, and I went ahead and finished this layout. And I forgot to set up my camera. I forgot about filming the rest of it. So I did lose a little bit of the video footage, but there's really not a whole lot that was missed, and I will share with you the final layout and some close-ups. So I did add some white twine to the tag, and it's white with gold woven through it. And I wanted to add a little bit more gold because I did have that gold washi tape. I also added another cut apart over there by the tag that says something about a good dog, but I can't read the whole thing. And then I added some enamel dots in orange, blue, and green. So I love the way that this layout turned out. I just think that these really bright colors suit these pictures so well. And that DCWV Playful Pets paper pad is super adorable. And I just can't wait to do more layouts with that paper. So that's all I have for this video, and I sure hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a like. And if you would like to see more videos, please subscribe because I'd love to have you join my channel. And I guess we'll see you next time. So y'all take care. Bye now. LilyBelle, did y'all get a hairdo today? Did y'all get a new hairdo today, huh? You went and got your haircut. Yeah. And you got to go on vacation? Got to stay at Mary's Bed and Biscuit? And I heard y'all had boyfriends. Yeah. Huh. Yeah? Bella, did you have a boyfriend, Bella? Bella. Hey, BB. Bella, did you have a boyfriend? You did. LilyBelle, did you have a boyfriend? You did. Okay, then.